Welcome to another episode of Ikezy Talks, and I remain your humble host, Ikezy. And as you can see, I'm all smiles. I just concluded the final round of fixtures for the group stage of the Premier of the Champions League, rather, where Arsenal won. We played against what is their name, Kairat, Almaty, and it was an expected victory for Arsenal, which was a pretty was an expected win. That's just what I'm going to say. But before I go further into the analysis and also some analysis of the other games and the full table, please kindly subscribe to this YouTube channel. I know say you vex, right? Your team probably did not qualify for the automatic qualification to round of 16, but please subscribe, like, and subscribe. That's how you can get more and more of this content that we're putting forward in the coming days. So yeah, Arsenal won. Honestly, there's really not much to talk about. As expected, it was a highly rotated. One thing I did like about that rotation was that I think the entire 11 was rotated from the Manchester United game that we played, in which we lost. So I knew that regardless of whoever it is that we put out, we're going to be too much for Kairat. Although I was disappointed, these guys got 2 goals. And I'm not going to dwell so much on it. I'm not going to dwell so much on it because at the end of the day, we got the win, right? We got the win. So, and that's the most important thing. One thing I would say, or 3 things actually that I want to point out in this game. 3 players. First person is Kai Havertz, second person Gyokeres, third person Madueke. And I'll start with Kai Havertz. I think it was a breath of fresh air to see Kai Havertz back in the side and give us something extra, something that a lot of Arsenal fans would agree with me that we're missing in the midfield, right? That directness, that running power, that decisiveness, playing as one of the 8s in the midfield. I think it was really amazing the way he took on the role, playing, having a very good combination with Gyokeres, which was very surprising. I thought they combined really well. And a lot of people might say, oh, it's Kairat, because Gyokeres was almost bulldozing his way and bullying the defenders and all of that. But guess what? We need games for confidence. That's it. Whether it's Kairat or his Leeds or his Portsmouth or whoever, these players need goals to build up their confidence. And I think that the performances from Gyokeres and Kai Havertz will do both of them a whole lot of good. And I think we'll see more of those duo, moving forward, right? I was delighted for Gyokeres' goal. Obviously, you could have gotten a couple more, but that's what I want to see. I want to see a striker getting chances, right? They're not going to score every chance. See Haaland, he scored in his first goal in like 9 or 10 games. You're not going to score every chance. But the most important thing as a striker is that you are getting those chances. And I think that is starting to happen for Gyokeres. His teammates are starting to find him, and the goals would come eventually. And that's something that I thought was happy, was good about his game. Yeah, you could have agreeably scored an easy hat-trick, but yeah, the chances are coming, and he buried one, and that's what we want from our striker. Brilliant goal by Havertz. Also, brilliant goal by Martinelli. I did think there was no need for him to tap that boy. I would have been annoyed if it was an important game and it was offside because the ball was going in anyway. So it was a good game. Now, the last player I want to talk about is Madueke. I don't want to be that guy that would start criticizing you, but I'm going to say it and I'm going to put it out there. Myself and a lot of Arsenal fans are running out of patience. You're not helping yourself. We're trying to support you. The least you can do is give your best on the pitch. I don't think Madueke is giving his best at the moment, and that is worrying, right? I think it's extremely worrying. His decision making in the final third is not good enough. Let's just call a spade a spade. He's very good in taking on his man. He can beat his man, but when it gets to the point where it actually is supposed to make the difference, he does things that surprises me, honestly. Balloons the ball, can't, place his short, can't cross the ball. Come on, you can do better. You can do better. And it doesn't help because the person that he is competing at the spot with is Bukayo Saka. And we know that, yes, Bukayo Saka has not been on his best form, but when that boy gets on his best form or in his form, Madueke, with these performances, trust me, you're not going to see any minutes at this rate. He needs to do better. But I'm not here to criticize the team. Defensively, we were shaky. Calaferi, that was a needless penalty, honestly. Should have just left that guy. I even thought he was going to get a red card, but I think he was lucky, not to get a red card. But yeah, I think it was a decent performance. Some young stars came in, Ibrahim, and I can't remember the name of the other guy, which was nice. Now, I'm just going to run straight into the fixtures. I think it's a very impressive thing to have five Premier League teams in the last 8. It speaks, and a lot of people have been saying the Premier League is bad or is worse or is terrible this season. But then if you cannot use the Premier League as a metric to determine the quality of the league, then we can use the Champions League. And from the Champions League table, I can see that we have Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea, Man City, who have made the top 8. So, that speaks volumes about the gap between the Premier League and the other leagues, despite the Premier League being subpar, right? I think La Liga teams, Real Madrid, moving from 3rd to 9th, it was crazy. The last minute free set piece that goalkeeper scored. Honestly, if you were betting, if you had bet in this particular game week, I'm sure that one must have hurt, because I think it was like a 15 odd for a goalkeeper not to score, and that's the beauty of football, right? That's the beauty of football. PSG didn't make it to the automatic qualification. Inter did not make it. Juventus, Atletico Madrid, it was really disappointing for Atletico Madrid. Dortmund, Galatasaray, a couple of big clubs did make it. Disappointing for Marseille, Athletic Club, Napoli. Those are clubs that you'd expect that we're going to, at least, even they're going to make the automatic qualification, at least make the playoffs, but they didn't. And it just tells you how difficult this Champions League is. Now, if you're going by what happened last season, now this is just a off the bat prediction. I'm not saying this was going to happen, but last season 3 of the top 4 teams made it to the semi-final. If you remember, the first team last season and after the Champions League group stage draw was Liverpool, and then it was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Liverpool. Just let me check it real quick. I think it was Liverpool. Yeah, it was Liverpool first, Barcelona second, Arsenal third, and Inter fourth. And if you remember, Barcelona, Inter faced themselves in the semi-final, and Arsenal, Inter, PSG faced in the semi-final. Now, if you remember, it was PSG that knocked out Liverpool. So you can imagine what would happen if the same was to repeat themselves this season, because the top 4 this season is Arsenal, Bayern, Liverpool, and Tottenham. Now, is Tottenham going to make it this time? From Liverpool, yeah. They can, with a shout. But I don't really see any other team contending. Obviously, I know that PSG will definitely, raise a comeback. I don't think Inter has been solid this season, honestly. Juve, Newcastle, Atletico Madrid, I don't think these guys are good enough. Chelsea, maybe Barcelona, yeah, and Man City, right? So I think it's looking good for us now in terms of the teams that are strong contenders, and I believe that if we can deal with the issue that we're currently facing, we are not able to deal with pressure. When it gets to the pressure moment, it looks like this team seems to crumble. But if you can deal with that, take that out of the window, I think we can really go far in this tournament. And who knows, might get to the final and meet like maybe Bayern Munich or, I don't know, maybe a PSG or a Real Madrid or an Inter. I don't think that any of these teams are going to be so difficult for us to beat. But that's from an Arsenal point of view, right? Not trying to get ahead of myself, but that's just what it is. So yes, there were a lot of surprises in this fixture, but honestly, I am not too surprised. I am not too surprised at all by the final. Moving to this weekend, I know that Atata did say that he held a meeting with the team where they tried to discuss, the form and how they were feeling, and he gave this in the pre-match for the Kairat game. He said a lot of things about how the players are motivated and how they want to play and enjoy their football. And that's something I'm looking forward to. However, as we all know, Arteta is very good with words, also good with the press. So in as much as, yes, that was good to hear, I want to see the talking. I want to see this team do their talking on the pitch. That's what I want. Do your talking on the pitch. So we have Leeds coming up next. We have to win that game. Our next couple of games are easier compared to Man City and Aston Villa. So it's very possible that within the next 3-4 weeks, we can be back to a 7-point or 8-point gap. But the only way we can do that is if you play and you enjoy your game. I want to see a lot more verticality. Let's play direct. Let's cut all this going to the wing and looking for set pieces or looking for corners. Yes, corner is good. It's a good part of the game. But please and please and please, let us pierce these teams through the middle. Play easy more. I was impressed with Norgard today. Play Norgard more. Trust these players more, right? I like the introduction of Havertz. Play these guys more. Odegaard doesn't have to play every game. Reduce his responsibility in the team. Let others come and, impose their creativity on the team. And I believe that, if we do that, we should be able to find ourselves in a very good situation come the end of the season. So I don't want to stretch this any further. If you enjoy this content, if you like my thoughts on the game, if you have any other opinions, can you share? Just kindly share in the comment section. But please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I remain your humble host, Ikezy, and I'll see you in the pre-match analysis for the Leeds game. Peace.